Hello, Squad Fam, and welcome to another Sinister Sunday. Today we're going to do something different. Today is a Sinister Sunday shout out to Rasmine, who sent us this place in a comment. She wanted us to do Cedar Hill Cemetery in Connecticut. According to her, there's lots of people who are famous buried there, like Katharine Hepburn. So let's get right into this. We have not done a cemetery on Sinister Sunday, so let's see what we can find. Okay, so let's get some history on this cemetery first. And I'm going to just read it right from the cemetery's website for this one. Established in 1864, more than 35,000 people have chosen Cedar Hill Cemetery as their final resting place. Encompassing 270 acres, Cedar Hill serves as an incomparable sanctuary for each of these people, as well as for a memorial artwork, Hartford history, welcomed wildlife, and many visitors who come to remember their loved ones and tour the grounds. Now, this place is really gorgeous, guys. It has like gorgeous landscaping. Its architecture is unbelievable for the buildings and even the graves. Some of them are gorgeous. Since its establishment, Cedar Hill's mission has been to provide the promise of rest and peace for the dead. Satisfactory to most cultivated tastes of the living and made forever secure as a sacred trust in the care of the Perpetual Corporation. In 1999, Cedar Hill Cemetery Foundation was established to preserve the art, history, and natural resources of Hartford's historical Cedar Hill Cemetery. The foundation, which is private and a non-for-profit organization, accomplished its mission by restoring and preserving the historical architecture, restoring and preserving the historic memorial artwork, caring for the trees and plants, preserving the natural resources and wildlife, and offering arts, culture, and heritage programs to the community. So real nice place, guys. Okay, so because this is a cemetery, there's not a super amount of stuff on it. However, there is a super amount of stuff on cemeteries in general and legends and hauntings in Connecticut. So we're going to go through them. It's actually quite chilling, and some of them just are downright sinister. The legends behind Connecticut's haunted cemeteries and also some spooky spots, but we're just going to do the cemeteries today. So, on October 15th, 1872, 48-year-old Mary Hart collapsed at noon in her New Haven home and died exactly 12 hours later at midnight. She was buried in the city's Evergreen Cemetery. The next night, her aunt had a vivid dream that Mary had been buried alive. The coffin was dug up and reopened. The corpse's fingernails were bloody, and the inside of the coffin was shredded from Mary trying to scratch her way out. Of course, by then, she was really dead. At least that's the legend. There are others. That she wanders the neighborhood around the cemetery at night. That she is a witch, and that at midnight, if you visit her grave, you will be doomed to a horrible death. Maybe there's all some truth to that. Hart's pink granite gravestone reads, "The people shall be troubled at midnight and pass away." That's what her grave says? Okay, that is spooky. Evergreen Cemetery is still an operating cemetery. All 85 acres are open for mourners from dusk to dawn. People are encouraged from wandering around in the dark. But the restrictions hasn't stopped Midnight Mary from wandering through the imaginations of ghost hunters, and during the witching hour, people go see her. Yeah, I don't doubt it. The cemetery is located on Ella Grasso Boulevard near exit 45 off I-95. The White Lady is the queen of Union Cemetery, a century-old graveyard in Easton. Sightings of the spectral woman in a nightgown and bonnet have been reported by many people. Legend has it that she is found wandering along Route 59, terrifying motorists, and sometimes strolls over to the Stepney Cemetery in Monroe. Another spook associated with Union is red eyes, described as course as a pair of red eyes. Police take notice if you go to the cemetery after dusk. Gregory's Four Corners Burial Ground at Spring Hills Road and Trefoil Drive in Brumble holds the grave of Hannah Hovery, or as her headstone reads, Hannah Carana. After Hannah's husband, Captain Joseph Hovery of Monroe, died under mysterious circumstances, rumors flew that Hannah was a witch. She became quite a pest, harassing her neighbors for free food and wood. Legend has it that sad fate befall on those who made her angry, and happy ones to those who were kind to her. Allegedly, she predicted her death a day before it happened, and her house burned down during her burial. It is said that Hannah's ghost is fond of wandering Spring Hill Road. The graveyard is open to the public. Okay, so that's fun. That's something to go see. So basically, all the cemeteries have some kind of spooky stuff going on in Connecticut. All right, Great Hills Cemetery in Seymour is known locally as Hookman Cemetery because it is believed that the graveyard is haunted by a ghost called the Hookman. Nobody knows for sure the Hookman's real identity, but it is said that he haunts the cemetery, causing cars to stall and making creepy noises. Some people visiting Guntown Cemetery on Guntown Road in Nantucket, a burial ground established just after the Revolution, have reportedly hearing the laughter of children and music coming from the woods, or seeing a man with a lantern leading a horse or a black dog that none of their companions could see. So the ghost only shows himself to some people? Or maybe the people who are seeing this ghost are just more in tune with the paranormal. Grove Street Cemetery has guided tours in New Haven. Cedar Hill Cemetery also has hollowed history lantern tours. Maybe that's why you can't find a lot on some of the cemeteries, because they have their own tours. A haunting at the mill, witches and tombstone tours. Oh, they have a lot of tours. Yeah, so that's just some of the haunted history for some of the cemeteries that are in Connecticut. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about 7 of the most notable graves that are located in those cemeteries we just talked about. So one of them is the grave of P.T. Barnum. Barnum and Bailey Circus, you know him. One of the greatest circus showmen on earth. P.T. Barnum has his final rest place in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The legendary man helped design the cemetery before passing in 1891. Reportedly, weeks after his burial, 3 men were discovered in the middle of the night digging at his gravesite. They planned to steal the body and hold it for ransom, but were scared off by the night watchmen, who interrupted the attempt at the crime. His grave is located in Mount Grove Cemetery in Bridgeport, Connecticut. There's also cute graves of the children of Captain Gray and his wife, Sarah. So it's the children and him and the wife. Captain Gray, his wife Sarah, and their children were aboard a whaling ship in 1864. Captain Gray died en route. And according to the story, his wife did not want to bury him at sea. The captain's remains were sealed in a barrel of rum and returned with the family to Connecticut, where he's buried still in a rum barrel. To visit his gravesite, you could go to Liberty Hill Cemetery on Trumbull Highway in Lebanon, Connecticut. Mark Howard and his wife Angelina Howard Lee's grave, they actually have a monument, not even a grave. It's hard to miss this 18-foot tall pyramid made of beautiful pink granite in the midst of Cedar Hill Cemetery, which is the one we were talking about. So definitely this is an exciting thing to see. Plus, we said that Catherine Hepburn is buried there, so you could see her grave. And I'll put all the pictures in of these because they're so cute. The monument has a life-sized angel statue in the doorway of the pyramid. This stone memorial was erected in memory of Mark and his wife Angelina Howard. Mark Howard was the first international revenue collector for the state of Connecticut, and you'll find it in Cedar Hill Cemetery if you want to look at that. The grave of Hannah Karana, we talked about her, right, and her story. And her grave is at Gregory's Four Corners Burial Ground in Trumbull, Connecticut. I'll show you a picture of her grave. The grave of Charles Goodyear. Goodyear. That's the guy who made the tires. The largest grave site that looks like a cemetery within a cemetery belongs to Charles Goodyear, one of the more famous people buried in Connecticut. Just imagine what life would be like without the results of his convented invention. To see the grave site, visit the 18 acres Grove Cemetery, Grove Street in New Haven, Connecticut. Cemetery at Connecticut Valley Hospital. Oh, so you know what this is. Psychiatric hospital, right? The graveyard at the Connecticut Valley Hospital is a mass of 1,700 headstones that simply bear numbers. These graves are of mentally ill patients that died between 1878 and 1955. It's a hauntingly sad place that demonstrates to an extent how the mentally ill was treated. You could pay your respects at the cemetery at the Connecticut Valley Hospital in Middletown, Connecticut. The grave of Mary Hart. So of course you want to visit Midnight Mary, and she's located in Evergreen Cemetery. We said that, New Haven, Connecticut. They have so much haunted stuff in Connecticut. Yeah. Rasmine, thank you for making me look up all these cool things. However, I'm never going to live in Connecticut. I might come visit you once, but I don't know. It might be even too spooky for me to live there. So, you want to listen to some more of my rantings on cemeteries? Okay. Every town in Connecticut has at least one cemetery in its midst. Some are said to be haunted and some not. In three of the state's most notable burial grounds, as well as nice little haunted spot where you can spend the night. Maybe they've got a room available right around Halloween. So they say the most haunted ones are the ancient burial ground, Cedar Hill Cemetery, Captain Grant's Inn, which I guess you want to stay there if you're going to stay around the cemetery, the Governor Jonathan Trumbull's house, and Grove Street Cemetery. Ooh, let's hear about this ancient burial ground. In Hartford, visiting the ancient burial ground on the corner of Gold and Main Street, the final resting place of Revolutionary War soldiers and the 17th century settlers, once contained 6,000 graves. 435 markers remain. So where's the other ones? What'd you do with them? Oh no. 435 markers remain only out of 6,000. The gravesite of Thomas Hooker, Hartford's founder, is there. He's turning over in his grave. Like, Cedar Hill Cemetery, the magnificent Victorian-era burial ground. Cedar Hill Cemetery in Hartford is home to stunning monuments. Yeah. Among its residents are Samuel Colt, Katharine Hepburn, J.P. Morgan, and Wallace Stevens. Grove Street Cemetery. Don't head home without a stop to Grove Street Cemetery in New Haven, one of the National Registers of Historical Places. This is another park-like burial ground with notable sanctuaries on nearly 18 acres. Among those here are Ella Whitney, Noah Webster, Roger Sherman, and Walter Camp. The inscription over the main gate reads, "The dead shall be raised." Fine, as long as it doesn't happen while you're visiting. All right, Squad Fam, thank you so much for joining us on this shout out / Sinister Sunday we had today. Thank you again to Rasmine. Her link will be in the description below, and it's in the little bubble up on top, so you can click and go visit her. She has a lovely channel and very peaceful there, so go visit her. It's about as peaceful as a cemetery that's not in Connecticut. There you go. Guys, if you like this stuff, please give a like. Leave me a comment as always. I really love to hear from you guys. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. We do all sorts of stuff here. You could check out what we got: arts and crafts, food, these Sinister Sundays, and then we have a whole bunch of paranormal stuff we did. So yeah, we will have dolls for you coming up in the next 2 weeks. A video with them. I have 2 haunted dolls. Going to cross them over, but I wanted to find out a little bit about them first. So there'll be some spirit rods and some EVPs, definitely. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you on the next adventure.